literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is? Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Well, we all basically knew that Snow White was going to be a massive failure at the box office because of Rachel Zegler's controversial statement.
Did you know the Minecraft movie just made more in a single weekend than Disney's Snow White made in its entire theatrical run? How did a bunch of pixelated blocks outshine a billion-dollar Disney fairy tale? And what does this mean for Rachel Zegler, who's now at the center of Hollywood's latest meltdown? Let's break it all down. In what's being called the biggest box office embarrassment of the year, Disney's highly anticipated Snow White remake was absolutely crushed by the Minecraft movie. No, seriously, Minecraft pulled in $300 million globally during its opening weekend. Meanwhile, Snow White limped past $77 million after weeks of theatrical release, with some days barely crossing $2 million. To add salt to the wound, Minecraft raked in more money in one Saturday alone than Snow White earned in 3 weekends combined. That's not just a loss, that's humiliation on a worldwide stage. Critics originally laughed off Minecraft, calling it too blocky, too childish, too niche. But fans proved them wrong. Packed theaters, sold-out showings, even chaotic screenings, where teens were escorted out for making too much noise. It felt more like a concert than a film. Meanwhile, over in Disney's kingdom, seats were empty, theaters were quiet, and at one showing, the only person watching was allegedly Rachel Zegler herself. Talk about poetic irony. So, what went wrong? A lot of fingers are pointing straight at Rachel Zegler. The rising starlet, cast in the lead role of Snow White, didn't exactly win over the public during the film's press tour. In fact, she may have sealed its doom. In interview after interview, Zegler bashed the original 1937 classic. She openly mocked the idea of Snow White needing a prince, dismissed the romantic storyline, and positioned herself as a modern leader instead of a fairy tale heroine. While Disney fans were hoping for magic, she gave them a lecture. And it didn't stop there. Zegler made comments like, "If you don't agree with me, I don't need your business." That might fly on Twitter, but not when you're representing one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history. Social media exploded. Hashtags calling for boycotts trended. And instead of stepping in to coach or redirect the narrative, Disney went silent. Then they pulled her from all promotional appearances. Too little, too late. Whether you love or hate the phrase, the "go woke, get broke" mantra echoed across online forums, reaction videos, and fan discussions. Disney's decision to reinvent Snow White with a progressive twist didn't land with audiences. They didn't want a re-education. They wanted nostalgia. They wanted the joy, the music, the magic. What they got was a politically restructured version that felt more like a campaign ad than a storybook adventure. From removing the original dwarves and replacing them with CGI magical creatures, to rewriting the narrative so that Snow White didn't dream of love but of power, it all felt out of sync with what fans remembered and cherished. Critics can debate politics all day, but the numbers don't lie. Audiences rejected it, hard. Another spark in the firestorm was the casting choice itself. Rachel Zegler, a Colombian-American actress, was cast as a character famously described as having skin white as snow. In this version, Disney attempted to explain the nickname by saying Snow White survived a snowstorm. That's how she earned the name. Fans rolled their eyes. This wasn't clever, it was desperate. Even longtime defenders of Disney felt the company was more focused on virtue signaling than honoring their own source material. It didn't help that Zegler's offhanded political remarks, like hoping Trump supporters never know peace, only fanned the flames. Insiders are now leaking what's being described as chaos inside Disney's executive offices. There were meetings filled with finger-pointing, people blaming the marketing team, the writers, the casting directors, even Zegler herself. Apparently, the Snow White script was rewritten multiple times, each version more modern than the last. By the time they started shooting, the original fairy tale was practically unrecognizable. To make matters worse, test audiences reportedly hated it, but Disney pushed forward anyway. The result? A confusing, soulless film that didn't feel like Snow White, didn't charm kids, and didn't win over adults. Disney spent hundreds of millions creating a fresh take on a story that never needed fixing. Now let's look at the flip side, Minecraft. A movie many expected to flop because of its simple concept and blocky visuals. Instead, it exploded. Why? Because it respected its audience. It stayed true to the game's playful spirit. It didn't try to inject political messages or social commentary, it just wanted to entertain. Families loved it. Kids were obsessed. Adults felt nostalgic. It was, at its core, a fun movie, something Hollywood seems to have forgotten how to do. The lead voice actor, Jack Black. Known for bringing humor, chaos, and heart to every role, he delivered. And he didn't lecture anyone in the process. Here's the real kicker. Critics gave Minecraft a 40% score. Audiences gave it 87%. That tells you everything you need to know. Critics may nitpick about story depth or visual style, but moviegoers care about how they feel walking out of the theater. And with Minecraft, they left smiling. With Snow White, they left frustrated or didn't show up at all. Studios like Disney often forget who pays the bills. Not the critics, not the activists, but the fans. And this time, the fans delivered a brutal message. Back at Disney HQ, the blame game continues. Some insiders claim Rachel Zegler is being used as a scapegoat. And to be fair, she didn't write the script or greenlight the changes, but there's no denying her interviews made things worse. Instead of generating excitement, she sparked controversy. Instead of connecting with fans, she alienated them. And Disney, instead of protecting their brand, let the fire burn. Now, everyone's pointing fingers, from the PR team to the writers to the boardroom. But one thing's clear, Snow White wasn't just a bad movie, it was a failure in leadership. What happened to the Disney that once shaped generations, with stories full of magic, wonder, and heart? The Disney that gave us The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Movies that still make adults emotional decades later. Seems like a distant memory. That golden age wasn't just about beautiful animation or catchy songs. It was about storytelling. It was about crafting experiences that made you feel something real. But now, Disney seems more obsessed with proving a point than telling a story. Every remake is packed with modern upgrades, identity swaps, and tone shifts that end up watering down the magic. It's like they're trying to earn social media points instead of audience loyalty. What Snow White has revealed is something many have been whispering about for years. Disney has lost touch with its audience. They're not listening to the people who grew up loving these stories. Instead, they're chasing online approval, chasing trends, chasing something that doesn't fill theaters or sell popcorn. And here's the thing. It's not the messaging that bothers people. It's the delivery. If you want to tell a story about empowerment or growth, do it through the narrative, not with characters preaching to the audience every 5 minutes. People don't go to the movies to feel guilty or judged. They go to dream. Audiences want heart, humor, adventure, not lectures dressed up in fairy tale costumes. They want to laugh, cry, root for characters, and lose themselves in a magical world. But instead of embracing the timeless themes that made these stories so beloved, Disney is dismantling them piece by piece, trying to rebuild them into something they were never meant to be. With Snow White, they took a story that helped launch the entire Disney empire and turned it into a lifeless, hollow remake with no soul. And instead of owning the misstep, they acted shocked when fans pushed back. The truth is, the fans didn't change. Disney did. This flop should be a wake-up call, not just about how to handle a remake, but about how to reconnect with the very people who built the House of Mouse in the first place. If they keep going down this road, Disney won't just lose ticket sales, they'll lose trust. And once that's gone, no amount of CGI or celebrity casting can bring it back. As for Rachel Zegler, her future is uncertain. She's clearly talented, but after this, she's become Hollywood's cautionary tale of what not to say on a press tour. Will she bounce back? Probably. Hollywood loves a comeback, but it's safe to say she won't be donning the red cape and glass coffin again anytime soon. And Disney? If they're smart, they'll stop the remakes and start focusing on original stories with heart. Because the more they try to fix their classics, the more they risk losing the very magic that built their empire. Now, we want to hear from you. Was Snow White doomed from the start, or did Rachel Zegler's comments push it over the edge? Did Disney make a mistake rewriting a beloved fairy tale, or is it time audiences accepted change? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you want more honest takes on Hollywood's biggest wins and fails, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching. Until next time.